Hello brawlers and welcome back to the channel. It's BakuBrad96 here with another requested deck profile for Bakugan Evolutions. Now this is number 12 if I believe, so that is great. I love doing these requested deck profiles. It is always fun. So if you have a request, don't forget to leave it in the comments down below. Now this theme is actually Fenneca themed for our channel mascot here, Lightning Bulb Tags. And it'll be all Fennecas, but instead of using the Ultra, because I have done this before, but instead of using the Ultra Bakugan, I'm actually using the core versions of Fenneca. So that way this is a little different, but still Fenneca themed. With that being said, I am going to go ahead and get right into it, because why not? Slide these core out of the way. Just because, you know, the channel mascot is Haos, I had to use the Haos Fenneca. It has a red fist and a green fist core, B power of 700 with 1 damage. So not bad at all. Of course, power creep is an issue. Excuse me. But I think with Nanogon and certain plays, it still has plenty of potential. Now then, next up, I'm actually using the Pyrus Fenneca, and I'm really just trying this one out. I might opt to take it out of the deck later on and replace it for either the Ventus or Aquas, but until then, I do want to try the Pyrus just because of the effect. It has a blue shield and a green fist core, B power of 300 with 7 damage, so definitely a damage Bakugan, which is really cool. It does fill in a few missing gaps in this deck, damage being one of them. And it's not that only that, but when this wins the brawl, you actually get 2 energy. So after this Bakugan wins, you do get 2 energy to use on like heroes, maybe BAKU-GEAR cards. I mean, any card that you could potentially play. Keep in mind that it won't help on that brawl because it's after you win. But you could definitely have turn setups that'll get you into your later game that could combo out nicely. At least that's the idea behind me using this Bakugan, so we'll see. And then for the third Fenneca, had to use Darkus because, well, Darkus. So it has a regular shield and a flaming fist core, B power of 300 and 5 damage. But if it lands on a red fist, you are going to get an extra plus 500 B power, which is pretty good. You know, using the plus 250, that gives you 1050. Again, power creep is an issue, but I thought 1050 was rather solid, at least for the Fenneca line. And again, I'm not always building the most competitive decks when I do these. It's all about the request and just really seeing what comes together. Before I get into anything else, though, go ahead and show off the figures. So this is the Haos Core Fenneca. Very lovely. Nothing compared to the channel mascot, but still really cool nonetheless. Of course, I do have the Pyrus one, which gets stuck a little bit from time to time. Honestly, the design of this Bakugan is really good. Really nice, you know, it closes really tightly. It's really solid. You know exactly what it is. It looks just like a fox, just like Fenneca. All the detail, you have all 4 legs. Of course, you do have the tail, the ears, the face is detailed. I just feel like this was a well done design. The Ultra too, of course, like probably one of the best Bakugan out of all of the years so far of the reboot. And then here is the Darkus Fenneca. So again, these all are the core Fennecas, which I did miss out. I never did get the Diamond 3-pack. I believe it was Falcron Ultra that had the Diamond Core Fenneca. So that is still a Bakugan I am looking for. And I do hope to find it eventually. But who knows. So the Baku core I am using for this team, I did decide to go with BAKU-GEAR. Not only because these are, well, kind of weaker Bakugan, but because I kind of strayed away and I don't use it a whole lot. I mean, sometimes I do, but again, just trying new things, give you all some variety when you're watching. For the blue shield, plus 500 B power, and then BAKU-GEAR cost 1 energy less, or minus 1 energy, however you want to say it. The regular shield plus 300 B power, and then again the same minus 1 on BAKU-GEAR energy. And then the two red fist or flaming fist, I decided to use plus 5 damage and then minus 1 energy on BAKU-GEAR. So all this does is just make your BAKU-GEAR a little easier to play. I am using 1 plus 250 B power and plus 3 damage, just for that Darkus Fenneca, in case I can land on it and get to that 1050. It would make winning a little easier. And then for the regular fist slots, plus 1 damage and then minus 2 energy from a BAKU-GEAR. And then plus 100 B power, plus 1 damage, and then minus 1 energy from a BAKU-GEAR. Honestly, I would want to have 2 of these, but I only had the 1, so that's why I'm using this one. Now, onto the Nanogon and the main deck. I wasn't really sure what to use for the Nanogon because most of my good cards are in all of my mono decks. I did decide to go with Nano Fury Pyrus on a green fist and red fist plus 500 B power, and then on a green, red fist, regular shield, and blue shield plus 3000 B power. At like very late game, this team does have the potential to have all 4 of those cores, so I thought, why not? Maybe, possibly by some chance. But yeah. Nano Siphon. On a magic shield or blue shield, you get to add a Baku core. And then on a blue shield and green fist, you get to steal an opposing Bakugan's Baku core. Very nice effects. Of course, Haos Siphon is very strong. You all know that by now if you watch any of my videos. Darkus Sledge on a green fist and red fist plus 300 B power. And then on double green fist, 1 red fist plus 1800 B power, and you get to steal a Baku core. So again, with that second ability, very hard to pull off, but if I do, it is very strong. Definitely a game changer with that effect. That is it for the Nanogon. I am not using any Geogon in this deck, and of course I won't review the Nanogon because the figures or the toy pieces aren't needed for the TCG gameplay, which leaves the main deck that is left. Of course, I am using the 3 Body Crusher, 1 energy for minus 4 damage. I love that card. Anytime I use Darkus, I am using it. Darkus Slayer, 1 energy for plus 200 B power and plus 2 damage. 1 Darkus Slicer, 1 energy for plus 200 B power, but if that Bakugan is holding a regular fist, plus 3 damage as well. I have 1 Haos Scorch, 1 energy for plus 4 damage, just helps with damage. 2 copies of Super Shot, 1 energy for plus 300 B power. 2 copies of Anger for 2 energy, you get plus 300 B power. And then Fury, if you have no cards in your hand, you get to draw 2 cards. The first Baku-GEAR of the deck, 2 copies of Darkus Destroyers, 2 energy for a B power boost of 200, 1 damage, and then you do get Shadow Strike, so you can't have your B power or damage reduced, which very powerful Baku-GEAR for only 2 energy. 1 copy of Might of Night, 2 energy for Shadow Strike, and then Sacrifice, you may discard a card for plus 5 damage instead. 2 copies of Shadow Slicer, 2 energy for plus 400 B power, and you get to scan. 2 copies of Stinging Web Snare, 2 energy for plus 200 B power, and plus 6 damage. So again, a damage card. 2 copies of Throw Anything, 2 energy for plus 400 B power, and then Shadow Strike. So really this is situational along with the Shadow Slicer. Either you want to scan and look at the top card of your deck, or you want the Shadow Strike so your B power can't be reduced. It really just depends on the game and where you're at in the game state. But again, just some utility, different options within the deck. 2 copies of Burn Cutter, 3 energy for a Baku-GEAR that has an armor rating of 1, huge. Otherwise, the Bakugan gets 100 B power and 5 damage. So, really good. It does soak up some damage when being flipped from the top. They each count as 2 cards with that armor rating, so that helps. Whenever I'm using Haos and Darkus, another must-have for me personally is my 3 copies of Fusion Flames, 3 energy for plus 800 B power. Such a solid card, really powerful. The only downside, I can't run more than 3. Speaking of 3, I do have 3 Meteor Storm, so again, 3 energy, and then you get plus 4 damage and you get to draw 1. So kind of a way to cycle through the deck and give a little bit of damage. Pyrus Spark, 3 energy for 300 B power, and Double Strike. So the Double Strike may or may not come into play with this deck, but again, just trying to find ways to get some B power. After that, it is going to be 3 copies of Sonic Aura. So this card costs 3 energy, and then you get 6 damage and scan. So again, depending on what your hand looks like, what you've played, you might want to see what you're drawing into, or you might want to see what you can potentially draw with other cards in the hand. After that, I have 1 copy of Stone Skin, 3 energy for plus 200 B power, and then Sacrifice. You may discard a card for plus 800 instead. Really cool card. I am trying to make a Sacrifice-themed deck for my Darkest Tertonium, but I only have the 1 copy of that one. I definitely want more Sacrifice-themed cards because they're really cool. But going on with the deck profile, 1 copy of Bright Flame, 4 energy for plus 600 B power, and Double Strike. Kind of a really cool dual faction card there. And then 1 copy of Dark Daggers, 4 energy for plus 200 B power and plus 5 damage. Again, another must-have card if I'm using Haos and Darkus. Glorious Charge, 5 energy for plus 900 B power and 9 damage. So really powerful card, and it's got Ghost Piece on it, so of course I'm going to want to play it. And then finally, this deck is like no flips at all, and that's very interesting, kind of a shocker, I know. I don't know if that was a good design or a bad design on my part, but I just wanted to give it a try. So the last 2 cards are Rainbow Sparkle Cannon of Doom, 5 energy for a Baku-GEAR with an armor rating of 1. Otherwise, your Bakugan gets 400 B power and 4 damage. So that definitely does it for the main deck. I hope you all enjoyed watching. That's going to be it for this video. I don't want things to get too long and drawn out, but as always, I definitely appreciate all of your support. As of recording, the channel is at 809 subscribers, which means booyah, we hit that goal. We are over 800, and I definitely couldn't be happier. Seriously, thank you all so much for your continued support. I'm definitely going to get around to doing a 800 subscriber special. I'm thinking about having that a custom, which the poll will come up tomorrow sometime, maybe midday morning-ish. So definitely vote for what Bakugan you would like to see me customize for the 800 subscriber special, which will probably be this weekend because I have a ton of unboxings to catch up on. Yeah, so that's it for the news, blah, 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 spew there. as always, stay safe, drum up, Bakugan, brawl.